I'm Patrick, and this is Brian, and together we're Just Got Played. When I'm not in rehabilitation for drugs or alcohol abuse, I'm here playing games and reviewing games. Tonight, we're reviewing Andromeda Fight League. Brian, tell us all about Andromeda Fight League.
Sure. Andromeda Fight League, it's a two-player game. It's basically a light tactical skirmish game in which each of the players are assuming the role of basically a fight commander or fight leader, in which they're controlling about 5 different characters and some spells that they can use in order to combat the other player. It's basically, the win condition is player elimination. It's the best 2 out of 3 matches in order to determine the winner. Essentially, at the beginning of the game, players begin putting the board together, or the terrain together, and there's some terrain obstacles on there, which can include stuff like road, which allows you to move extra spaces, mountains, which create obstacles that block your movement, and like lines of attack and things like that. There are portals, which players can like go in one entry and come out the exit, or vice versa. And then, let's see, portals, mountains, I think that's about it. Oh, and then there's just holes, big gaping holes that players can like fall into and I imagine perish. Let's see. Oh, so after the board is arranged, then there's a draft that takes place, and each of the players from a pool of characters will each draft. There are some rules, like you got to have certain levels that will match so that the power level is equally distributed between the 2 players. But the players will take turns drafting their characters until they have 5 of those. And then there's also some spell cards that each of the players will get as well. During a player's turn, whoever the first player is, he's going to determine which of his characters he's going to activate. He is then going to roll the dice, and there's somewhat of a limitation on the amount of movement that his activated character can go, or can do. After he moves his character, he can then attack with it. The combat is pretty easy to resolve. It's just you roll a die 6, and a 1 is an automatic miss, a 6 is double damage, and 2 to 5 is the normal attack. The character will use its attack value, and from that you will subtract the defender's defense value, and whatever the resulting damage is will go against the life points of the character. If the defending character is still alive at the end of the combat, it gets a counterattack against the attacker, and the combat's resolved the same way. And then it's just basically the turns alternate. Each player, the other player goes, and then they can choose which of their characters they want to activate. And you can't activate the same character on subsequent turns. So you can have your favorite character walking around more than the other characters. Some of the other stuff that can take place during your turns are spells can be cast from your hand. Some of your characters have magic points, and that's like a pool of mana, if you will, that you can cast throughout the entire. They have to track it, but you can use it at any point, pretty much depending on the speed of the spell, whether it's an instant type spell or whether it's a regular sorcery type spell. But all those can either bolster the attack, or you can like summon equipment, or you can do there's other like terrain modification spells where you can actually like rotate the entire board or pieces of it or something like that. So that's kind of cool. With that, Patrick, what would you say is your favorite thing about Andromeda Fight League?
Some of these cards have some really strong special abilities, and I'd have to play it a few more times, but it does seem like it's fairly well balanced. So if I had to pick one thing that I like the most, it's these big, sweeping, powerful special abilities that still maintain a sense of balance throughout the course of the game. So that's my thing that I like the best. And if there's one thing that you like the best.
My favorite thing about Andromeda Fight League is that it's a light tactical skirmish game, and it's not miniature heavy. And with that, it's pretty easy to get up and going. The rules are basically just like a 2-page fold out or about, and you're up and playing in no time. Unlike a lot of tactical skirmish games, which there's a rule book, like it's almost rises to the level of like a war game. So it's fast to get going, and it's fun. What would you say is the thing that you like least, though, about AFL?
If I have to pick something that I don't like, it's going to have to be the graphic art and the art. I really feel like they should put a little bit more effort into the graphic art and the layout of the cards and the avatars. I feel like it needs some polish. And if there's one thing that you had to pick that you didn't like?
The thing that I like least about Andromeda Fight League is the counters. The game comes with counters that, 3 different color counters that represents like 1, 5s, and 10s value. However, there's a couple of different things to keep track of. You have to keep track of the mana, your mana pool, which is, on each of the different characters can provide mana. You have to keep track of each of the characters' health totals as well. Plus, if any of the characters have special abilities or turn tracking or like markers like poison counters or delay counters or something like that, and they all use the same counter. So it can kind of get confusing if you don't remember exactly where they were. But that's probably easily remedied if you have like any type of aftermarket game accessory or something like that, I suppose. Again, Andromeda Fight League is coming to Kickstarter very soon, so make sure you keep an eye out for it and back for your copy. And we'll also post the current website where you can get more information on it.
I'm Patrick. This is Brian. Together we are Just Got Played. Thank you very much for watching. What's the first rule of Andromeda Fight League?
First rule, don't talk about Andromeda Fight League.
Don't talk about Andromeda Fight League. Well, we have. We already blew that one. Yeah. But at least they got a cool name. Andromeda Fight League is very, very cool.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, imagine if we had fighters from our galaxy. It just would not be cool at all. It's like we show up like, yeah, we're the Milky Way Marauders or something. It's
the Milky Way Fight League.
Yeah. So we would get our ass kicked by the Andromeda League fighters, no doubt.
It is a much cooler name.
Yeah. And how did they get such a much better name? Why are we named the Milky Way? I mean, who that?
Well, there's a. Isn't there an? It's the. I don't know.
The Milky Way versus like Andromeda.
Yeah, it's the next closest galaxy, right? Andromeda.
Yeah, Andromeda is the next one. But we get like the shitty name, so.
The poopy name?
Yeah, the Milky Way.
I'm hungry.
At least it's not Snickers.
You want to go again, or are you good?
That's all right. What kind of production is this?